Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we have Jodi. I'm so excited. I happen to be scrolling on Facebook and I seen her and Paul have an interview and I was excited to interview you. Like I didn't even get a chance to look at your page.
Oh,
So
which page are you talking about? Needle
your
Drop Nation?
your Facebook page.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And you are with OLSP, right?
Yes, I am. I'm with
Okay, okay.
OLSP. hmm
So my first question for you, Jody, is how you get into OLSP and how long have you been here?
I've been with OLSP since I would say either early or mid November of last year. So I'm pretty new
Mm-hmm.
compared to Paul. Well, Paul's been there for around several years now.
Uh-huh.
Um, had an interest in how to, um, do a side hustle um, to earn a stream of income to support
Yes.
my family. You know, sometimes a full time job is not enough to pay the bills.
Never
So
enough.
basically, I said, well, let me see what OLSP can offer. And I actually was introduced to OLSP through Beverly Samuels,
Mm-hmm.
um, through Instagram, and was really impressed in regards to the amount of webinars Wayne had weekly. And then later that month in November, around Thanksgiving weekend, um, I actually signed up to be a community builder, a team builder.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've been a community builder all this time?
Yeah. I know, like the 30-day challenge that
Uh-huh.
we've done, the one that ended, I think, in February. That I we started that 30-day challenge back in December, the first week of December. That and Wayne, when he interviewed me, had mentioned if you really want to learn and grow and drive results or see results happen, whether it's building your audience, starting to see results through helping others,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to join me on this 30-day challenge. We're all starting together, and he was starting as well with the
Right.
challenges that he has given, that he gave us as assignments, projects, collaborations.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really interesting. It was fun.
Exciting.
It was because I was able to meet amazing, team members who were very supportive, insightful, and also inspirational in regards to vehicling that engine inside to move forward, even when things, in times seem tough. Um,
Right.
Balancing time, you being a mother, I'm being a mother, balancing stuff at home, work, and also trying to get to the result you want to achieve, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a direct message. Um, it was something that there was a lot of encouragement on different levels, and especially from your team members during the challenge.
Yes, because mentioning in the challenge, I'm actually in both 30-day challenge. That's why it was
Goodness.
surprising that you said that you was already in community builders because I was in team builders and now I upgraded to community builders. So I didn't know
Gotcha.
that it was out before then. But by me being on the 30-day challenge, the new 30-day challenge and the old one, that explains why it sound like that because that was when y'all was actually into community builders.
It's funny because community builders, the term that Wayne utilizes, because it is true,
Hmm.
it is growing through building community. I started as a team builder. I was a team builder, but then when he announced we're going to change that, there is going to be a transition.
Hmm.
All team builders are going to be community builders.
Right.
We are going to be using this. So it's exciting.
Hmm.
I feel that with the new site, which probably you'll want to discuss further, how user friendly it is, why it is developed as an ecosystem for members to be a part of.
Escalate.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
great.
Yes, it is. And I've only been on there, what, maybe like a week or
Hmm.
three days to a week. And I'm like over here so excited. I had to go back to school and tell Wayne like three times. I didn't told him thank you because like I'm over here having so much fun. I forgot I was working. Because
There
at
you
first it used
go.
to be so drainful that we be in here like
There you
just
go. No,
fun.
it's great. It's
Yeah.
great. I'm glad. I'm glad to see that you're having that euphoria in, working with Wayne and working with your team members. It's really it's great because it's like when you're dealing with stress in life, and then you see that buddy that you look forward to working with in
Yes.
OLSP and the challenge. You're just like, here I am, here I am.
Right.
Let's
Like
do this, buddy.
it's me. That's what I be saying.
Yes, and can I say I've watched you from your solo
Uh-huh.
to collaborating with other team members that I've worked with. I know that Josh, you did an interview with Josh last week or a few weeks ago, and I've done some collaborations with Josh from the other 30-day challenge. And I'll tell you, it's like we still keep in touch. We still support each other, and it's just inspiring when you see the numbers increase. Like I see your numbers on the viewership, I see his numbers, and I said, wow, that is fantastic, where everybody is definitely growing. Like even the podcast that Nick and I do, Needle Drop Nation, that was inspired by our times when we did assignments together, when we did
Mhm,
interviews together. Because
mhm,
before we even did, I don't even like to use the word assignment, Ebony.
mhm.
Oh, thank you. I could do this too. Huh,
Yeah.
you and I have another thing in common. Uh,
Yes.
so, one of the things that Nick and I would always do, because we're close, we're around the same age. I mean, maybe just 4 years apart. I mean, when you get to our age, it's like, yeah, 4 years, big deal, right? We're Gen Xers.
Mhm,
We just start talking even before we start doing an interview. We talk about music, we talk about movies, we talk about, musical instruments, orchestration. We start singing at times, sometimes together, humming a tune.
mhm,
And before you know, it's like, okay, oh my gosh, we got to do this, we got to do this.
mhm,
Um, and then one time, you know, we just said, hey, we could continue on and on and on and on about music. Yeah, well, why don't we just could just do a podcast? And he goes, oh my God, that would be like the dream. And I said, yes. And then on the 30-day challenge, it, the whole thing about the webinar, the format of the webinar to build audience,
mhm,
it's very interesting whether you're offering a digital product, a service.
mhm,
Um, it's a way of how you definitely build your audience, engage in regards to them commenting, and you being able to comment or to reply to their comments. And that's
mhm.
about building the know, like, and trust
Yes.
in
Yes.
order for you to be able to fulfill
Communicate.
your objective exactly, and have people join in that, let's say, OLSP community.
Okay.
So, so we use the same methodology with our Needle Drop Nation for people to subscribe, because keep in mind we're now on our sixth episode. We're going to be recording the sixth episode this week, and it's dedicated to the year 1969. But how we view that music through the eyes of Gen Xers, because technically we would have been just kids or just born at the
Mhm,
time. But how do we, when we hear the music on the radio or on the turntable when we were kids, what emotions evoked, and going back to that creates dialogue. And also, we have a playlist of the music that we talk about. So viewers can actually enjoy it. We're also on Spotify, our
Oh
podcast,
yes.
and we're
Mhm.
also on iTunes. Sometimes it's great to listen versus watch the podcast because you see two talking heads. When you listen to people talk while you're driving or just a moment of calm, it definitely you can absorb, the information even more. So
Okay.
yeah, right now you know, we are on our sixth episode, and we've seen our viewership increase,
Hmm.
our subscribers increase, but we definitely would like to get more interaction and more comments. Keep it going, but we've been getting requests about songs because we tell people what year we're going to be covering on the
Hmm.
next episode. So
Okay.
people already have been submitting in requests.
Hmm.
Individuals been submitting requests as far as what songs they'd like to hear from that year. We even
Okay.
did birthday celebration too.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what I do is a good way to, because you have mega builders since you're a community builder, a good way to
Yes.
get your information out to people is I basically get on Restream and create a video, and then it doesn't matter what it is because affiliate marketing is like business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I would create a video, use those clips, and just push it out on Mega Builder, and then
Yep.
it'll get out to people, and then people will be like, "Oh, hey, I like this song." Oh, and then they can start purchasing it. Just let them listen to it, and
Oh,
then people
yes.
will buy it.
Uh, I mean, the intention of the podcast is getting subscribers, and then hopefully down the road, if it ever happens, to get it to monetize, right? And
Right.
also to there's a target audience that we're trying to reach, and when we look at our demographics, as far as people, the viewership or the listeners, we got that Gen X, those Generation X audience who are at this phase in their life right now today
Hmm.
that definitely would want an effective side hustle or
Hmm.
to make an income because of what we see in the labor market in
Here today.
yep,
Oh,
and there's a lot of uncertainty. So it's also a way of how to connect with them and
right.
then eventually get to a place of, you know, hey, these people are Gen Xers, but what is behind also relating to how does affiliate marketing work? And Nick and I were talking about that. So and when it and Nick does use Mega Builder more than I do,
Uh
but
huh.
I've used Mega Builder for scheduling, promotional excerpts like the AI generated ads that you
Yes.
see with the artists, and then the background music playing and talking about the episode that's going to
Yes.
launch or that's so I that's been done on Mega Builder, um, and like I said, you've got a great idea. Maybe looking into doing. I did once, and Nick did in the beginning a face to just a one person direct message talk about Needle Drop Nation and a love letter, to Gen Xers to celebrate music.
Okay.
So I think we need to
That
go
is
back to that.
beautiful. That's beautiful.
I
Yeah.
think we need to go back to that, Ebony. I think you've
Yes.
got a great idea about that, and just something that needs to be reiterated because people get used. If they see a formula, they're like, "Okay, this is I. All right, enough. Let's see something from the hosts to really talk to their audience, like from in a promotion." And I think that's really important. Nick and I did that for like the first two episodes, but I think you're right. We need to do it, you know, consistently.
Yeah, because even though Wayne be like, put 3 reels out every day, I don't do it every day. So
I know it's like
it's,
wow. It's like
it's
when I
like
grab my coffee, I should
exhausting.
do a real. When I grab my coffee, oh, when I'm doing the laundry, I should do a real stop or just continue putting the clean laundry in the back and say, hey, you know.
Right, it's okay, right? So what I do is I just do 3 every other day because it's so exhausting, and then I
Mhm.
try to make sure to put my warm down post on Facebook.
Yes,
So it's like in between family and those, it's not a lot, but it becomes a lot because you want to put your own creativity in it. So I'll be
absolutely.
like, I can't do the 3 reels every day, Wayne. I'm sorry, but I could do them every other day.
Ah, well, at least you're being honest, right? But
Yes,
you're doing it, and it's about the momentum. It's about the consistency, as he always says. You see
yes.
results if you have that momentum. You maintain that consistency, and also, let's say if you do reels, right?
Mhm.
Schedule them like you do on Mega Builder,
Oh yeah, that's
so you
right.
would
Well,
post.
I haven't made it to that course yet, but he gonna teach us how to schedule them
Yeah,
later on.
and you could see that I'm really excited because I need to explore the
Uh-huh.
site even more as a team builder. I mean, as a
Hmm.
community builder, to be able to, um, you know, embrace what are the new, more simplified ways of how to, whether send emails, whether
Hmm.
to schedule posts,
Hmm.
how to send posts, and also, earn as you learn, that they say. Earn
Yes, that's
as
the
you
big
learn.
saying. Earn as you
As you
learn.
learn.
And with affiliate marketing, if that's not the way that we learn, that is the way that we learn every day.
Yep. Yep. Earn as you learn, right? And bring more people in. You earn as they learn.
Yes, and they earn as they learn, and then so forth and so forth. Not a pyramid scheme, y'all. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
I know that was a long answer to our question, but I loved it. The next question is, how do you balance learning OLSP with taking action?
That's a very good question. Being ready to have the mindset that you cannot be in your comfort zone all the time. Because I
Mhm.
think when you choose to be in a place of safety and comfort, sometimes it's a way of holding you back.
Oh.
And the thing is that in the beginning, when, let's say, for example, a lot of folks were, when we were given an assignment to do, whether it was an interview or even, an introduction about ourselves and talking about OLSP as
Hmm.
an assignment, a lot of us, like during the challenge, were like, oh my gosh, we had to be in front of the camera. Oh God.
I know, like people got to see our background, like.
And then and that in itself, once you take that leap of
Hmm.
being outside of your comfort zone,
Hmm.
that is the decision you make to take action.
Oh,
Okay,
that's a good point.
you basically are in a place where you are moving forward, you are taking action, you are working with another person, and you actually are achieving results.
Right.
You get your people, within the group to actually watch and support what you post,
Hmm.
get interaction, comments, support. Remember, it's all about the engagement.
Engagement. Okay.
And then that also motivates you to work on the next project, you know? But again, it's making that leap to get outside of your comfort zone. And that's where you see the take action take place.
Okay. Yeah, because Wayne talk about taking action all the time. He be like, I don't care if you ain't wash your face and brush your teeth. The most important thing is if you take action first.
Yep. No, he's right. And, it's a reminder that, of course, life does exist, but it's also a reminder that always remember to move forward. And if you feel any doubt,
Hmm.
always ask for support. I feel that that's what's incredible with OLSP. I know that I have my go-to people
Hmm.
that I would, let's say, hey, I feel so scared to do this, and whether it's in Messenger or just pick up the phone and call, and we would start talking through our doubts, our self doubts,
Right.
and then, but then also support each other. Like, like just for example, with your, and you are collaborating with me on this interview. It's
Right.
just incredible,
It
and
is.
I just, it's funny we got the dates mixed up, but it's okay. It's like, but still, hey, listen,
We're getting it
this is
done. Because
exactly,
when
and
I
that's
say
taking action. That's
taking
taking
action,
action.
and when I say that Paul is the first person, like I've been trying to get an interview with Paul so bad that we both didn't miss the interview appointment like 2 or 3 times. So that's why I'm so hard on myself when I came to you today, because I know I already been late with Paul. And I'm like, it's not Wednesday. Like I done got mixed up like so many days that I'm thinking today, Tuesday, is Wednesday. That's so sad.
Well, a lot of us folks do make that mistake, especially when you work and you have your routines. You're like, and sometimes the weekend and the weekday don't feel different because your routines are pretty similar.
Yeah,
And I know
they are.
working from home, I've been making that mistake myself. So
Yes,
don't be
but
so hard on yourself.
I'm not. But Wednesdays are my favorite day of the week because of Hump
Aw.
Day. So I love when Hump Day get here because I know, like, oh, I got to work hard. So today
Mhm.
felt like a Wednesday to me.
Well, that's a good sign because you know what that means. Every day for you is a hump day. Then in that case, you're motivated, you're pumped, and you're gonna make it happen. So there you
Right.
go. And that
Yes.
energy
Yes.
flowed to me. I had a
Hmm.
hard day today, and I know I'm gonna have a more difficult day tomorrow. But I know for a fact that your energy transferred to me, and here we are.
And you can call me, girl. I'm always giggling and laughing. I'm gonna be over
Which is
here to giggle.
great.
Yes, we gonna be
Which is
laughing it
great.
on out of here. Like, ha, what? What you say happened? Because
No, it's
after we get
great.
done with them laughs, we ain't gonna be thinking about that no more.
No, I hear you. I hear you. I totally hear you.
Okay. So the next question is, and by the way, these I couldn't get the interview hub to work. So, on the question explorer, do you have that option to look at the questions or do you get the
Yes.
DMO?
But it's no, we do through the hub. And when Nick and I did that one time, we are both like, all right, so let's go to the next question.
So, do you know how to
Because we do, you have your option of questions,
uh-huh.
and then they'll just, there was just a point where we would modify and like ask our own questions,
Right.
about
So do you know how to get the questions to show up on the explore questionnaire explorer?
that. I don't know. I only know how to get to the interview hub, and basically Wayne gave us a URL to log on to, which I think is also on the website, and
Mhm.
you can select who you are reaching out to in the community, who you want to
Mhm.
conduct an interview, and then there are the set of questions and a next question and then the next question about things that you want to ask about, whether it's about affiliate marketing. I mean, they'll give you categories and then they'll post a question up, and then that would be the question that you would ask.
I'm gonna ask Wayne to make a video for it because a lot of us don't have the question explorer. So I use the same questions that was in a mega hot seat. And
Gotcha.
that's how I'm able to ask some OLSP questions. But it's the same questions. I don't
Yeah.
have another set of questions.
They kind of vary in a
Mhm.
way, like, but it's always good to get to the source in regards to how to,
To really
access
use it. Yep. I'm
it.
just gonna ask Wayne, like, cause it's a lot of us. We've been having a little chat, like, how do you get in there?
Yeah.
Um, so what was your first win in the OLSP system?
Wow. Let's see. Being able to meet amazing people.
Hmm.
That was my first win. Um, People who actually were transparent and were also very willing to help because I was a newbie. It was less than a month that I started, and it was on the challenge. And I would have never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing today. You know,
Me either, girl. Like, and what's crazy is when I moved back, cause I stayed out of town. So when I moved back home to my hometown, I had stopped using OLSP. So I've been on my Arlen's my first 5K for all these months, and that's how I learned the interviews and YouTube. So I was already trying to jump into interviews before I jumped back into OLSP. And I happened to go on my site, and while I was on there, my money started moving up. And
oh,
I'm
you
like,
see,
I ain't even did nothing. I'm like, let me get on here. So I started getting on there. Then my money moved up some more. I'm like, man, I'm slipping on OLSP. The next thing I know, Wayne just come out of nowhere like, we got to upgrade. And when we upgrade, I'm like, what the heck going on? And girl, ever since then, I done been stuck back into OLSP that I be back and forth, back and forth.
hmm
And I say that by the time I got finished, now that I'm at this point, everything that I done just like fell in just
that's
together.
great.
Like, yeah,
That's great. I'm
yeah.
so proud of you. That's
I'm
great
just
of you.
glad that I came back to OLSP because I would have lost my account. I'm over here like, I'm not about to do this right now.
How long have you been in OLSP?
Since 2000 and yes, 2024, 2024.
Wow. So you've been what, almost
For
two
like a
years?
year, yeah,
A
for like
year.
a year and a half, but I say last year because I stopped in the beginning. So,
Gotcha.
mhm.
What's interesting about OLSP, and Wayne even had mentioned it one time at a webinar. He said, people do leave, but then they come back.
Yeah, we come back. We
They
do.
come back.
We really do. So Jody, what type of content do you create to not come off as spammy or scammy?
Talk about through experience. Talk about through your own personal experience with your audience.
Hmm.
It's so
Okay.
important to not sound scammy or spammy because there is no formula about talking about your own personal experience. Everybody has a different experience, but if they talk about their struggles,
Hmm.
and share it with their audience, um, it really helps build that know, like, and trust again. And that
Right.
is not scammy, or neither is it
Or
spammy.
spammy. Right. You
Exactly.
hey, hey Jody, what you mean is you can't sugarcoat the truth, baby.
Yeah, that's true because I am a bad liar to begin with.
Girl,
I
I
can't
can't
lie. I can't
I
lie. No,
cannot
so no matter
lie.
how hard I
I
try to like
my
lie, it doesn't, it
my
can't work for
cousin
me.
be like, E, you just too honest. He be like, just don't say nothing. If you can't lie, just don't say nothing because you just too honest. I'll be like, I can't help it. I can't lie. Like, if I try to lie to somebody, they gonna know I'm lying because I'm gonna be over there like doing something.
Ebony, can I ask you a question? So
Uh-huh.
now on the update, the 230-day challenges that you're in, because usually it will be him talking with the students, right?
Mhm.
And you don't. I think recently there was a time, I think towards the end, where we were able to all see each other. Do you all
Oh,
see each other?
no, we only see each other on a group and when we communicate. So that's
Gotcha.
where I saw you. You had commented on Paul's post because I think that's he in a 30-day challenge too.
Yeah,
And when you commented on his, I seen you in the 30-day challenge group.
gotcha.
Yeah, we only can see each other through the group.
Yeah, that is true. And do you also have like VIP members in the group too as well?
Heck yeah, Josh in there.
Josh is in there too. Oh my
Yep,
goodness.
Josh in there. And Aisha, Josh was the very first person that talked to me. Like I was on
Wow.
there for 4 days and nobody would respond to me asking for
Really?
an interview.
Oh no.
And Josh and Aisha was the first two people. And it was a
Wow.
little hard for Aisha because of her English. And I'm like, girl, you good.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand you. I want to learn from you. I had to make her feel comfortable because
Of
it
course.
doesn't matter if you can't speak English. all the way. You still can talk English, I can help you with it.
Mhm.
So I was so appreciative that they had jumped on because I needed somebody in OLSP. I had people outside of OLSP that have business owners, but I needed somebody in OLSP so I could continue the challenge. So by the time my fourth day came, I had to go all the way back to one and do it all in that one day so I could catch up. Because Wayne was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna delete this video," but I didn't know that at that time because I was looking at recordings. But I'm thinking like, "Oh, he about to delete this. I'm gonna be behind." And I had to, girl.
Oh, as far as what are you talking about, the lessons, or are you talking
Yeah,
about?
with the lessons. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but that was just for the people that was on there live. I could
Got it.
still go back today if I wanted
Yeah.
to go. Yeah, I
Yeah,
could
to
do it.
like day one or something like that.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, I
I
could
hear
do it
you.
however I want to do it. It's just at that time I didn't know that. I was just, frantic because I'm
I
like,
hear you.
I just started the challenge and Neek put me in there. She like, I think this would be great for you because you already have tech experience and you already have commissions in your account.
Hmm.
So I want to let her down. We both moms. She teaching me how to do it. And I'm like, she didn't put me in this challenge and I'm not gonna make it. And I'm
I know
trying to
that's a
ask
lot of
people
like
stuff.
that's again that's a whole thing about the fear. How
But
do you convert that fear into energy to?
right, what I did was I went on school and I told Wayne, I said, Wayne, I'm on a group and ain't nobody answering me.
Aww.
I'm serious. I'm like, I didn't know if it was because I was black or was I new. Like, I didn't know what, and I wasn't about to let that stop me from doing what I had to do. I'm like, well, I'll just find my own person. I know plenty of people that own businesses. But that's when Josh was like, I got you. Just don't worry about it. We had missed like a couple of days, and he was like, I got you. I'm just a little busy, but I got
Hmm.
you. And I just took, how you said, take away that fear. I just took that fear and just
Hmm.
called him because I
Yep.
didn't know how to reach out. And I'm like, let me just call him on Messenger because I was busy. He answered. I was like, when he
Are you
answered, I was
ready?
shocked. Yeah.
You know what? Josh did that to me too. He's like, hey, because we fumbled on our first, my internet wasn't working. And I had my son going down to the internet box, and I was just, it was a hot mess, right? And so basically, Josh called me again. He said, hey, are you ready? I'm like, ready for what? And he was like, well, I said, you know what? I said, well, it was interesting. So Josh goes, well, you know what? You and I are going to interview. And then I go, well, you know what? I have Sarah who's interested in doing an interview. He goes, let's get Sarah in. And then
Mhm,
we also got, we got several people and we got all of us. There were like four of us to do an
mhm.
interview. So
Right.
like together. And it was really interesting how that worked. And it was, again, it was impromptu. It wasn't planned. It was originally planned for two people because we screwed up on the first,
Mhm.
but then it eventually ended up being a four-person interview, which, you know, I must say that was incredible. And it's, again, it comes from spur of the moment. This is an idea. Let's do it. And look what happens.
Right. Because when you say about what is affiliate marketing, I'm going to do a YouTube video, and that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say affiliate marketing is creating business. Because if you think about it, we have to sell other people products. So we have to come up with a concept to where we're going to sell it. That's creating a business for yourself.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna talk about that because people be like, huh, what? And I have a blog. It's called Past, Present, and Future.
Hmm.
And when you go in my blog, it's gonna tell you all the different things that you could use affiliate marketing and turn it into a career.
Hmm.
Like when I be saying that, I'm serious. Like I had this blog for a lot of years before I even knew about OLSP. But when I found out about OLSP, I'm like, that's a good way to help people create businesses.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna talk about that in my YouTube video, but I'm gonna give you more insight. I got
Oh,
you.
absolutely. No, it
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yes.
No, it's great.
Okay. The next question is, what's your process for creating content that actually converts?
question, is initiating dialogue. It's That's the most
That's
important.
different. That's different.
You need to initiate that dialogue with your audience and your leads, because that is the key. Because people inquire. Okay, that's the first thing. It's inquiry about what you are talking about, what's the topic you're addressing.
Hmm.
Then you respond, you
Hmm.
know, with their concern, because what you are trying to do is you're trying to solve a problem, right? That's the key. You
Hmm.
have to understand what are the pains of your audience. Relate to that pain, because they feel that maybe you're leading them to provide a solution, right?
Right. That's what Arlen teach. Like you want to, even though because Wayne talk about getting a pain. I mean,
Hmm.
figure out a person pain. But
Exactly.
my Arlen's on my first 5K. She talk about how to solve the problem, which is
Hmm.
a person's pain, and you using an offer to solve that problem for them. So I like that.
Hmm. and
Mhm.
and
I,
also
that
relate
helps.
to,
That helps.
yeah, and also relate to their experience. I think that's the most important thing. You could talk about, again, your personal experience of how you dealt with the same struggle.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
posting, and you hardly saw any dialogue. How many times do you have to post to get there? And I think when the people realize
That's true because
that,
I have a lot of content that don't have no likes. So,
exactly, and I think the thing is, then you have to, like, again, still stick to that pain of your audience, but also ask a question that will trigger an interest, that triggers the pain that they feel. Then, because that's, again, with the whole thing about scheduling your posts, what are
mhm,
going to be the messages? What are going to be the messages for your next post? If you felt that you did not relate to your audience, and you didn't get the desired result of getting the dialogue or the comments on that first post, and it's always there are days when you're like, okay, I think this is what I'm gonna post to relate to that, whether it's through humor or
mhm.
whether it's through a compassionate comment, you know, to incite dialogue. But then, you also have to be responsible and relatable, where it would require you to respond to your people who comment. You can thank them for sharing, and also say, I totally, how do you consistently relate to them? And that whole thing about responding to your audience when they comment is key, because they know that you care, and they know they will follow whatever next post that you're going to have. That's important. When Nick and I post the release of our podcast, we
Mhm.
always celebrate somebody who would say, hey, oh my God, the music was great that year. And I said, well, uh, I'm glad you watched the podcast. There's also the complimentary link to the Spotify music list that of
Mhm.
music that we talked about in that episode. Enjoy. Wait till next episode, and don't forget to subscribe. And then these kind of things engage them, as they're part of the audience that we're going to see next week, and we always thank them. That whole thing about interaction, appreciation, care speaks in volumes more than you know. Whether it's just one comment, two comments,
Mhm.
and it's like, we realize people anticipate watching. And it's so funny. I was looking at the demographics about the viewership or the listenership. A lot of it's coming from the
Oh,
United
excuse me.
States. We also have, of course, people from England. Um,
Mhm.
but it's just really interesting how we see, um, now we're seeing a trend where, even whether the viewership is not as tremendous, but people are responding and interacting about the episode, about the music that we talked about the playlist that we posted. And then we also engage them about wait till next week, and it's something
Right.
that is consistent. Even in the end of our podcast, we always, even from the beginning and in the end, we always thank our viewership.
Hmm.
We remind people about paying attention to a special treat that we have for them. And also, don't forget to subscribe. And we always thank them from the bottom of our hearts because, that, viewership is value. It is value because,
It is.
how they say if one person saw, then the next person will tell the next person about it,
Hmm.
can relate to, you know, um, the podcast and what we celebrate, you know. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Yes, it does. So let's see what the next question. We're at 40 minutes in, so we're gonna ask one more question, and then I'm gonna let you, you know, lead out with your call to action, so everybody can know how to contact you if
Mhm.
they need you. But we gonna put our interview in to be continued because I want to finish this interview out, but it's gonna
Mhm.
be too long to do it on one.
No, understood.
So the next question is, how do you stay focused in a world full of distractions?
Oh, it's a great question. Always remind yourself of why it needs to get done, in the
Hmm.
sense of always think about the motivation of why you need to get it accomplished. What
Okay.
is the end result? Sometimes you'd be like, oh, like I said, it's about context. Oh, this is a project. Oh, then you procrastinate. But then when you really sit down and you say, okay, why do I still have to do this? Oh, yes, it's because it's going to help me overcome my hesitancy to do it. And it's also going to get me to the next level of what's to come. You know,
Right. Okay.
if I can overcome this hurdle, then you know what? I can probably meet the next challenge, and see where it will take me. And it's interesting because in this amazing community, from the folks that I met, through the challenge, um, I was able to work and partner with people, you
Hmm.
know, in the affiliate marketing field.
Hmm.
Um, so it's incredible. I think if it
It
wasn't
is.
for making that refocus and reminding myself and even taking notes about a to-do list to remind me that I have to get this done. My day does not end at 8 p.m. My day ends when the most important things that need to get done,
It's
I
done.
want them to get done because I achieved getting them done. That's when the day ends.
Right. And that's how I feel. Like I put all my work off until 12 o'clock at night and I put my baby to sleep. So by
Mhm.
12 o'clock, I can get in. And it'd be funny because I be in here like, but by the time morning come and my kids got to go to school, I be done. And I
Mhm.
be ready to get them ready for school. And then I can take me a nap and be back
There
at
you
it. The,
there you go.
but yeah, I know exactly how you feel.
Yes, it's easy to get distracted. I
It
mean,
is very, very.
easy to scroll through stuff, and you're like, "Ooh, this looks fun." I get it
Like on a webinar, and then you done looked over here and like you done looked up and be like, "Oh shoot, I didn't hear nothing he said."
because I was looking at something
No.
else. Like, oh, I made commission on this. Oh, it's like I know. Sometimes that's why I have to shut off my notifications, like on the
Man,
computer and on
I
my phone. If I have to focus on a project,
mhm,
if I'm doing something with someone, a collaboration,
okay.
shut down everything, keep the room quiet as much as possible, and you can get things accomplished.
You can. And I like the fact that when you get into your own space and in your own time, that's when you really see the true accomplishments. That's when you can really take action in life and really see your own self pro- proceed. Because I know people be like, why she keep saying that? Because when you do something that give you the freedom to do it, then you can see the accomplishment and make yourself feel accomplished. Not about what other people telling you to do every day, all day.
Mhm.
What you do for yourself is what can make you feel that accomplishment has been succeeded, you know,
Exactly. No, I agree. I agree. And you are the only one yourself you're the only one that can measure that
that accomplishment.
accomplishment. Exactly.
Yes. So, Jody, my last question, but we this part one, we gonna make us a part two, okay?
Oh
Of
my
this
goodness.
talk. Yes, 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 yes. But please tell everyone how they can contact you if they want to work with you or they want your services.
Okay. Well, I'm on Instagram and on TikTok for MJ Happier to Be You. Okay.
Okay.
And then I have a community page on Facebook. The Feel Good Groove and Digital Community. And also, I collaborate with Nick Wood, who's an OLSP. We collaborate on the podcast, the weekly podcast called Needle Drop Nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, stay tuned. We'll definitely inform everybody when the next episode will be launched on this Friday. So, everybody's in for a treat.
Okay, Friday. Okay.
Friday, yes, you'll see it I posted on the 30-day challenge too.
Oh, well, I'll be on there.
you know, yeah, and it's funny because this is a year we're going to be focusing on 1969, and one of the songs that I feel that year was a foretelling of the sounds of the 70s. Because remember, we're going from 69, and then next week would be the Jackson Five, Babe, I Want You Back.
Hmm.
Yeah, that song to me is how a song from 1969 that would reflect on the sounds of Motown and funk of like the 70s, the early
And
70s.
it's funny that you mention that because I'm a student or a kid. Well, my mama I never learned white history, so I only know black history. And
Hmm.
in my time, Motown is that place. And when I say, oh, 1 second,
Hmm.
no, go upstairs. I'm sorry about that. My baby was busting in.
No, it's okay, mother. Yeah,
Oh
of
yes,
course, it's good.
Motown, the Jacksons. Oh my God.
Yes,
Now Jackson Five, when we was growing up, that was like they raised us, okay?
they. Oh, you
And
see,
the Temptations,
the Temptations.
the Five Heartbeats,
Yep,
uh
the
Whoopi Goldberg
stylistics
with Color
and the four
Purple.
tops, the four
Oh, the four
tops.
top, yes.
Yes,
They don't know
yes.
nothing about
Mar-
that. Yes,
Marvin
Jody.
Gaye,
Mark,
Marvin Gaye,
yes. Oh my
Stevie
God.
Wonder.
The lady with the red dress,
Yeah,
girl,
yeah. Aretha,
you taking
Aretha.
me back. You gonna make me cry.
Well, then
Oh my God.
you should watch the podcast because I there's always going to be mentioning of a Motown tune that carries us throughout the years, and the artists back in that era influenced a lot of the artists today, like Raphael Sadiq
Mm-hmm.
and D'Angelo. May his soul rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Erica Badu,
Yes.
Bruno Mars,
Yes.
Andre Pak. You
Okay.
know,
I'm not familiar with Andre Park, but I'm a
he collaborated with Bruno Mars on
oh,
that
okay.
album. Yeah, several years back, but like a few years back. But I think the thing is that one of the things as a person who listens to music as a Gen Xer is that
Mm-hmm.
you listen to songs back then. You also can feel the influence of the artist today or
Yes.
in the past 20 years that were influenced by that sound. And that's what I always want to bring into the conversation during the podcast.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because what I wanted to bring up was when we was growing up, that was
Mhm.
what uh we did to uh I don't know how to explain it. Like, we didn't fight. We
Yep.
had a dance battle. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
We didn't as I would say, up on each other.
Yep. Yep.
we
Yep.
we got along, we talked it out. It's just hard to explain the things that
Hmm.
we did back then to the things that people do now. We
Yeah.
had ways of communicating then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't do all that extra. We had a wanna you got a beef with somebody, or we gonna dance it out, or we gonna rap it out. Who
Wrap
gonna
it out. Yep.
and
Dance it
we
out.
still
Yep.
gonna get along. They best friends, but why they don't get along? Because that's their communication. We
Yeah.
worked it out. We didn't sit there and let that make us have real beef with
Well,
each other.
the
No.
thing is that then people are able to communicate person to person. Now you've got people communicating in the digital space. So when you talk
Mhm.
about the social interaction and the emotional intelligence that requires dealing and working through issues from person to person, it becomes a bit more difficult at times, especially if you spend most of your day in front of the computer. You know, when you think about the development of socialization, you know, does that hinder or does it, that's another question. That's another
Right.
debate.
Great question. Right. Does it hinder? Hey, I need to write that down. I'm gonna let you write that down.
Okay, okay. No, but I think you've raised a very good point about dealing with issues person to person, but doing it in such a way, whether it's through dialogue or even through competing, you know,
Yeah,
through
it keeps the
dancing.
violence down. It keeps the
Exactly, through
violence
dance. No, totally, totally. No, I get it. I get it. I
down.
remember the movie Crush Groove.
Never heard of that. Never heard of that.
It's
Never
the
heard of.
breakdancing scene back in the early 80s, when
I
breakdancing,
was born in the
people
'80s,
would
so I'm
compete
not familiar with it. Uh-huh.
compete yeah, yeah, compete competition, uh,
Okay.
prevented it prevented violence to a degree, like I think that that's important, even sports was intended
Oh,
to
you
do that
talking
too.
about like Roscoe Jenkins?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, you talking about like Roscoe Jenkins. Okay, and you know what? That is the way that we grew up, though. We
Hmm.
had those parents that did that, and they
Hmm.
controlled that area. So if you had a problem with each other, they would be the ones to say, "See, we about to settle this right now. You can't dance better than him. We gonna see who
Exactly,
gonna win." Yeah,
exactly. And I think that in itself is so important, that aspect of overcoming violence through competition, and creativity.
I need to write that down. Yeah, control violence with competition. It always it always take away the violence. It do. It really do.
Hmm. Yeah.
I know that you busy. I'm busy. We've been in here for 53 minutes. So
Wow.
when would be a good day for us to do part two?
Part two, probably, I would say Thursday. I have to go maybe, I
Thursday.
don't know. What does, if it's going to be Thursday, maybe during I know, like after your nap, when you send your,
Kids to school?
yeah, I guess that would be like midday for you.
It'll probably be like 12 noon.
That's what I'm saying, like around noon.
Is that a good
Maybe,
time for you?
let me take a look at my calendar.
Okay, look. Mhm.
Gotta look at my calendar on my phone. I gotta keep a calendar, else I'll get in trouble.
Hey, I'm still learning for real.
Because I know Wayne has his webinar on Thursday.
Oh, wait.
Did you go
We
on?
do.
Did you attend the webinar today?
I
How did
missed
it
the
work?
webinar. I didn't know it was one today.
There was one today, I think at 3.
Yeah, I didn't know it was one
So no,
today.
we'll be fine because his next one is at 3 o'clock
But I can go
on
in there and watch
Thursday.
the replay. I
Exactly.
always forget Friday question and ask. He even go on school and
Oh,
tell
the
me
Q
what
and
I
A.
want. Yeah, he'd be like, get on Q&A, Ebony. I'd be like, oh, I forgot.
Oh. So yeah, 12 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Just remind me on Thursday.
Okay, so the next webinar is on the 26th at 3 p.m. our time.
Yep.
And I
And
think
then 12 o'clock noon on Thursday's fine. We're
12 o'clock.
Nick and I are recording the next episode 9 a.m. that day, so we should be fine. You and I, noon is fine.
Okay. And is that the podcast for the music?
Yep.
Okay, so now when you get that podcast, put that in do it on Restream so you can take those clips and put it in Mega Builder and then post those three reels out like you do the OLSP content.
Yeah, we actually do feature parts or segments of our interview as a preview, or even as for to as a teaser for people to go to the actual podcast. So that's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, put that in your notes because then you can see more people reaching out to your music because it's a lot of us that love old school music.
That is
Like
true.
even when we was in school, we learned black people music and white people music. Yeah.
Hmm. No, I hear you. No, I hear you.
Mhm.
Yeah, we talk about both too on our podcast.
Uh, and what's the difference, Jody? What's the difference between a podcast and an interview?
Podcast is a conversation. You can have a conversation, or you can even have an interview. But podcast is, I would say, is more intimate. Um, it's a dialogue that you have between two people.
Hmm.
An interview is a bit more formal. Um, but yeah, podcast, from my observation, is more intimate and dialogue driven, and also can be transpired from
Excuse me.
audio to video, video to audio, because you can actually have it recorded and listen to as well. I mean, you
Oh,
could listen to it,
that's
just
what make
the
it a
sound.
podcast because of just the audio. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but now you have both, and people now say, "Oh, this is how so this is how this podcaster looks like," because
Right.
I was used to the audio podcast on Apple, or like the TED Talks and things like that, and then now you can see what the people look like when they're having the dialogue on YouTube. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Is there
Mhm.
anything else you want to share with our audience before we leave?
No, there's always this statement, and I see this in you, Ebony, is like start strong, stay strong, and end strong. So
Yes. Thank
that
you.
that I've seen with you, Miss Ebony. I do follow up with the 30-day challenge postings, and I've been seeing you progressing, and keep it up, keep it up, sister, keep it up.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the encouragement because I need it, girl.
And you have it. You
Yes, I
have that
do have
heartfelt
it.
support.
Yes, I do. I can feel it. I really do. And I appreciate your honesty and your help because just this conversation alone, even though we didn't get to finish the whole interview, has helped me tremendously. I don't even think you know.
Hmm. This can even just be a complete interview in itself, just so it's pretty fluid. you
Hmm.
know it has it's graduated, the conversation. I
Hmm.
mean, you've got pretty much good material that you could work with just what you have right now. But if you want to continue the dialogue in a part two, I'll be more than happy to work with you
Yes,
on that.
let's continue because I think that we have really made an impact by coming together.
No, I feel that you transfer that positive energy, and I thank you for that.
You're very welcome anytime, outside of this interview.
Aww. Oh. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it,
You're
Ebony.
very welcome. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. But we're still going to see each other after I end it, but I'm going to end it and then I'm going to come right back. I'm about to end this first. Okay.
All right,
Bye,
lady.
everybody. Thank you for joining our channel.
Bye. Thank you, Ebony.